what is the biggest thing that's keeping you stuck? Why do you feel discontent despite achieving what you thought you needed? Something's missing. You've tried other solutions, but nothing has truly fixed your problem, up until now. Download the 3 reasons you're feeling discontent and how to fix it fast at www.jedbrotherson.com and quickly create a clear roadmap that helps you find peace, clarity, and fulfillment. Welcome to the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast, where Jed Brotherson takes you on a journey to confront the roots of your discontent and emerge significant. Each week, we dive deep into themes like overcoming harmful family dynamics, standing up for yourself with courage, speaking out against injustice, and cultivating healthy, authentic relationships. Be sure you visit our website at www.pulverizingthepatterns.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, get ready for empowering stories, expert insights, and actionable strategies that help you break free from negative patterns and create a life rooted in self-respect, clarity, and connection.
Today on Pulverizing the Patterns, our episode's called Turning Pain into Progress. And I have with me Robert Wheeler. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time to be here.
Robert, can you take us back to the beginning? Was there a defining moment in your life when you realized that pain could either break you or build you?
I don't know if there was necessarily a defining moment, but just to give you like a brief synopsis, I was in the Navy for 10 years. I was a police officer after that for almost 18 years. And I was just putting trauma on trauma on trauma. And like most veterans, most first responders, I didn't know how to deal with it. I had no emotional regulation, no emotional control. And that's a very scary, dangerous place to be. So, there was a lot of suicidal ideations, the negativity of, I hate my life, anger issues, just all kinds of just bad things. And I knew that I had to find a way to get out of that. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like the person I was seeing in the mirror, and like there had to be some sort of change.
Yeah, that's perfect, because that's identifying some of those early patterns that you've had to overcome to get you out of that survival loop.
Definitely.
And so what inspired the creation of Battle Fitted? Was it birthed from your own transformation or?
Essentially, like, so the funny thing about Battle Fitted, it actually started as just a clothing brand. I'm a very artistic individual. I like to draw, I like to create, and I wanted to create something that represented, I guess, my values of who I am as a person and who I wanted to be. But as time went on, in 2018, I left law enforcement to open a strength and conditioning gym, which I ran for 4 years. And unfortunately, I lost everything due to COVID, which that caused some more depression, some more anxiety, because I was at this point in my life, what am I going to do now? Because when I had the gym, I thought that was my purpose, my passion, my reason for being here. And the common denominator in everything was I see my community out in town all the time, and they always tell me, like, we haven't had a coach like you. We didn't have anybody that led like you. We didn't have anybody that, talked to us and motivate us and treat us the way you did. And that kind of gave me that aha moment of, well, I have a service mindset. I like to help people. I have to have a purpose. A man without a purpose is a dangerous thing. And that's essentially where the birth of Battle Fitted became my whole mindset brand with everything that I'm currently doing.
Right. And how does that, maybe I'd like to know more about how Battle Fitted helps develop the fitness and the daily disciplines that we need to master into this cohesive path of healing.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, for me, like, building this business was my own personal therapy, right? Yeah. Like, I had to learn what things kind of worked for me. And as someone who sought out therapists and mental health professionals and took medication and did all the things to try to heal, the common denominator in my life was the 3 pillars of my coaching, which is fitness. Fitness is paramount in my life, because if you take someone that they're not doing any form of activity at all, and you get them just to move a little bit and start to focus on what they're putting in their bodies, how they're eating, their relationship with food, that starts building your resilience and mental toughness right there. We know working out and eating healthy, it's not easy, right? So, when we do that, that starts to build a little bit of that mental toughness. And then the mindset, like trying to teach people how to think positively instead of negatively, practicing gratitude, journaling, breath work. And then finally, the discipline to continue working on this and working on yourself so you could be the best version of yourself well after you're done working with me. And those three things being evident in my life has helped me not only create this brand and this mission that I'm on, but help me heal. I tell everybody all the time, the trauma didn't go away. The mental health issue didn't go away. It's not going to go away, but my system's not to completely heal you. It's to help you overcome issues and be 1% better every day.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank
I
you.
love that. So how can working on these things, the mindset, the physical conditioning, uh, and can you walk us through how those can help mirror and support each other as we're going through this?
Yeah, definitely. I believe no matter what we're trying to do in life, like you can't just focus on one thing, right? Like even if you're trying to build a business, you can't just focus on the product. You have to focus on the sales. You have to focus on your customer relationship. So my approach is completely a whole holistic approach. You have to combine everything together to optimize yourself and to be an optimal human. So once again, the fitness, like working out is tough. And some days I don't even want to work out. But when you build that as consistency and discipline and it becomes a non-negotiable, well, we've had studies and we find that having that non-negotiable in your life, that helps you create more opportunities as far as, if you don't want to work on your business, but you have to, you're going to do it anyway because you know that the end result is better than saying, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to work on that. And then the mindset shifts is very important, especially for veterans and first responders to create that emotional regulation and emotional control. I'm finding in most of my studies and veterans and police officers and people I speak to, no one ever taught us how to turn off the pain, the suffering, the things we see every day. So you go through that threshold of your house and you bring all that stuff with you and it destroys your marriage. Divorce rates and suicide rates are the highest they've ever been for first responders and veterans. That's because no one's teaching them how to deal with their problems head on. And then obviously discipline is always going to be better over motivation, especially as someone like me who has mental health issues. I'm very rarely motivated to do anything. I've just created the healthy habits versus the bad habits to continue doing what I need to do.
Yeah, that's an amazing approach right there.
Thank
So
you.
for somebody who feels paralyzed by trauma or stuck into self-sabotage, uh, you're saying not begin with mind or begin with body. You're saying a holistic approach is the best.
I think, at the end of the day, even when I talk about fitness and nutrition or mindset, you have to find what works for you, right? If you don't do what works for you, you're not going to be able to sustain it, right? And I think a lot of times when it comes to social media and the internet and everything that we're seeing and consuming, we get lost in oh, I need to do this because this person does it, or I need to do that because this person does that. No, you have to experiment on yourself and find what works for you and then stick with that until it doesn't work. So, you know, once again, in order to overcome trauma or not overcome it, but deal with it better, you have to face it head on. Like you have to talk to somebody about it. You have to be able to be very real with your emotions and who you are as a person. And then you have to realize that this is something that can make you stronger, better. It doesn't have to defeat you. I think we hear the word trauma or trigger or mental health issues, and we think it's all bad. And I truly believe from a spiritual standpoint that God, the universe, whatever, made me suffer not because God's like, hey, I want you to suffer and I want your life to suck, but no, to build me into the person that I am so I can help share this message with people that don't know how to get on to that next level or that other point in their life.
Yeah, that's so powerful to get us to move through that pain and confront it. Uh, is there like I always ask this question. I'm looking for like the most common mental blocks, because I've had so many. And so, is there a most common mental block that you or a narrative that you repeatedly run into with your clients, and how do you help them like dismantle that?
I think the I guess the major two is one, just taking action. When it comes to anything that we want to do, whether it's good or bad, facing trauma, getting a new job, whatever, you have to take action. You can't grow, you can't change, you can't make purpose without taking that first step. So I always tell everybody that you have to have a limitless belief system, not a limiting belief system. And from talking to neuroscientists and other professionals, the subconscious is such a powerful thing. And I know from my own experience of going through life for years, saying life's going to suck, I hate everything. My life was consistently bad because I was putting that into my subconscious. As soon as I changed that and I started saying, I'm going to have a good day, I'm thankful for my wife, I appreciate everything I have, the amazing perspective shift that I had on that, it amazes me how simple things are that work. Like you don't have to have this big shift in your perspective. You just have to say, okay, I'm thankful I have food in my house. My bills are paid. Like even with me and my podcast, as I have guests on my show, I start to realize the things that I went through aren't even half as bad. There's always going to be somebody else out there worse than you. There's always going to be somebody else having more problems than you. So you need to be grateful for what you have and what you're going through. And then the second biggest thing is procrastination. People just, we suck up TV or we doom scroll on our cell phone or the kids are yelling in the background and you need that break. So the procrastination of not taking the step of action, those two kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. I was about to ask how you personally stay aligned with your own mindset, and it seems like you're staying in that constant state of gratitude and avoiding procrastination.
I still have bad days. Mental health is a horrible thing. It's not fun, but I have more good days than bad, and that's the goal. The goal is always to be 1% better every day, and then be able to stack those wins over time. And then once again, you have more good days than bads. Like I said, there was a few days this week where I didn't sleep very well. I had a lot of stuff on my mind. I didn't make the gym and I felt horrible. And today I was able to get some good rest. I got back in the gym, and I think it's all about just picking yourself up no matter how many times you get knocked down, even if it's a million times. You just have to keep moving. And I tell people have a different idea of failure, I guess, than I do. When people, oh, I failed. But here's the thing. If you don't give up, like if you have a business and you're not getting customers and you're not making money, but you keep going at it and you maybe pivot to find that thing that's going to make you successful, you didn't fail because you didn't quit. A failure is only a failure once you say, I'm done, and you stop doing that thing.
Yeah, that's such a powerful story of what's possible when we commit to the path.
Definitely.
And I love what you shared, about we still have our bad days. What this journey, it is a journey.
Definitely.
We still have the storms, no matter what happens. And and could you dive into like the discipline a little bit more, because I feel like it's often misunderstood, like as an emotional suppression. Like how do you teach clients how to structure the commitment while honoring their emotional truth?
It's just, we know, I think it takes like 14 to 21 days for a bad habit to take effect. Well, the same could be said for good habits. So for me, what works is time blocking. If I schedule out my day, even if that's every day, and I say, okay, 9 a.m. I'm going to the gym, 10 a.m. I'm having my first meal, 11 to 12 I'm working on business, and you start getting in that rudimentary routine. And that's something that, obviously the military gave me, was that structure, right? Because you know that at 4 a.m. you're going to wake up, at 5 a.m. you're going to have chow, at 6 a.m. you're going to do this. But the power of time blocking and scheduling things out is so beneficial, because that's what starts building the healthy habits. And if you do that over, it becomes a week, and then 2 weeks, and then a month, and then before you know it, it's a non-negotiable. So it's just, instead of making bad habits, it's making healthy habits, and doing it over and over and over again. As a child, that your parents teach you, you have to brush your teeth every day. Maybe sometimes it's once at morning, once at night, and they make you do it over and over and over again. And if you don't do it, they're like, go brush your teeth. So you have to do that as an adult too, right? You have to reassess your life with healthy structure.
Yeah. I love that. Do you maybe you could help us understand a little bit more about how you believe the gym, the morning routine, or the cold plunge can actually become a space for like shadow integration? And if so, how?
What can you define for me like what shadow integration is?
Well, it just pulling in all these what have been termed as like negative aspects of our,
Oh, okay.
right, to balance them out. And I use in that Karate Kid movie, there was a scene with Mr. Miyagi where he says whole life's about balance, right? How do we achieve that inner balance inside of the storms that we face and these routines that you're taking? Does it, I guess it's kind of looking in the space for that silent space as you're doing these things, where is it creating a space for your mind to allow you to observe
Right.
what's going on in your life rather
Yeah.
than acting?
Yeah, definitely. So, as far as like cold plunges, breath work, sitting in actual silence, that's all great for if you can, control your breathing and just like not have your cell phone with you or music and just kind of sit in that silence. That can be a powerful moment to either allow you to de-stress, to re-regulate your emotional control, and build mental resilience, mental toughness. And we know just by taking a cold shower sometimes, like that can help build some form of mental toughness. And then there's tons of studies that have shown that being outside, going for a walk, rigorous activity, is good for your mental health as well as your physical health, because especially at the end of the day, for me, like I like lifting weights. So when I'm trying to get that last rep in or go a little bit heavier than normal and I have to force myself to push, that builds that mental toughness and that mental resilience. And, maybe not all the time I'm going to make that lift or make that PR. So I'm going to mentally build my resilience to keep fighting to try to get to that goal. So I think it's all about what you want to get out of it. You can, I believe, like in life, anything you want, you can kind of reverse engineer for what you want. So like with a cold plunge, if you want to build mental toughness, then you're going to have to just get that head underwater and then sit in that cold plunge. If it's 15 seconds, then you do 15 seconds for a week, and then the next week do 30 seconds, and the next week, until you build up to like a minute. So it's once again reaffirming that structure and those healthy habits to get to whatever desired goal you're trying to reach.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Is there a pattern specific pattern or something that you would like to share with the listeners that you've even recently had to overcome in order to become the leader that you are today?
Yeah, I think, once again, I have bad days, and even me, I think if you know who David Goggins is, I look up to him because this dude's, he's an animal, right? His mental toughness, his mental resilience is crazy, and I'm definitely not anywhere near there yet. I think support is huge. Whether it's a friend you can trust or talk to, whether it's a wife or a partner or whatever, you have to at least have one person in your corner. And there's been times, because for me, this coaching business is essentially new. I went back into law enforcement after I lost the gym, which was a very horrible decision. But after I realized, like, look, I can't be doing this job anymore, and I started building this brand, there's been times where I've doubted myself. But having the reaffirmation from my wife saying, no, like, everybody's proud of you, keep going, keep doing this, that speaks volumes. I can light a fire in anybody to continue. And then even, having the opportunity to be on your podcast when people say, hey, I want Coach Rob to talk about what he's doing, taking those keys from the universe to solidify what you're doing and recognizing that and being able to recognize that, that's a huge motivator when motivation may be, low. So.
Yeah, perfect. Could you give us 3 things that a listener could start doing today to start building that momentum into the strongest version of themselves?
Real simple, and it's free. Go for a walk. If you can walk, 30 minutes every day outside, preferably, to get that fresh air, nature, sunlight, whatever. If you can't walk for 30 minutes straight, just start with what you can do. If you can only go out to the end of the block once and come back, do that. Instead of diet, I don't like the word diet because, as I tell everybody, it has the word die in it. It's not meant for us to be, sustainable. As Americans, our biggest issue is overconsumption. So start tracking what you're putting in your body. So if you go to McDonald's once a week, maybe change that to once every 2 weeks. Instead of getting 3 cheeseburgers, get 2 cheeseburgers. Start making those small shifts that's going to help you change for the better. And then the third thing, practice gratitude. Be thankful for what you have. Even if it seems like it's dark and you don't have much, if you only have a car with 3 tires, be thankful for all 3 tires on that car. Like, gratitude is such I think, a unvalued thing that I never thought in a million years would be such a powerful way to change our mind.
That's so powerful. I know even recently with me, gratitude, like the next level that I had to unlearn, relearn, remember was that gratitude isn't something for me to only hold in a prayer in the morning. It's meant to be all day. And
Right.
I was having anyway, it's becoming easier to now live in that state, and it really has changed my life.
And I think, like, and I like that because I think, like, if you have a bad day or maybe you're having a panic attack or maybe somebody got mad at you for no reason, like, to be able to, a lot of times we just have to pause, right? We overreact immediately. We don't think about taking that breath and saying, okay, why am I really upset? Why am I really mad? But even the value of just pausing and say, you know what? I'm thankful I'm alive. I'm thankful I can walk. I'm thankful I'm about to go eat lunch. Those things can really be a huge mindset shift.
Yeah. Nan, could you share with us now, like, what's one myth about healing masculinity or transformation that you feel needs to be changed or the truth to be shared about?
I'm just trying to completely break the stigma. I think from, I'm 48. I think from our age category, we came from a life where our fathers, our mothers, they just bottled up everything inside because no one taught them like no one taught us. And just trying to break this stigma that just because you have mental health issues, you're not damaged goods. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. We've seen from COVID, it caused a lot of different things in people who now are afraid to go outside or work out or whatever. So if you have trauma or mental health issues and you don't know what's wrong, get help. I'm, maybe therapy and medicine didn't work for me, but I'm never here to overtake a mental health practitioner. I'm here to be an extension of that. Get help. Talk to you're going to have somebody in your corner that's going to listen to you no matter what. I know everybody in their life has at least one friend, one person, one parent, one something that they're not going to judge you, and, sit them down and freaking unload on them and get that out. And once you get that out, you can start to heal. And I think with us as men, it's such a scary, dangerous place because, like I said, we were never taught to you really have emotions or cry or, have these feelings of what's wrong with me. And it's time for us to change that. So,
Yeah, love that. If there's so many of us, what I'm finding is there's so many people that are just becoming disconnected, right? This disconnections causing people to feel like they're broken or undisciplined, maybe even if they're not. What would you try to say to them, heart to heart?
I think, for the most part, we gotta get to a point where we put the cell phone down for a little bit. One thing for me, when I come home, when I'm at dinner with the wife, I don't touch my cell phone. When we're together watching TV, I try not to. Now, sometimes with business and stuff, I have to, but I try not to touch my cell phone. When I go to bed, I don't touch my cell phone. I don't look or do business or emails until after I've worked out. And I think just getting away from that technology, whether it's Netflix, cell phone, video games, and I love all these things and I use them in my daily life, but you have to disconnect and you have to kind of reconnect with your friends and your family. We have to get back to that human element, right? Not everything has to be virtual or online. You have to be present in now and in today.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, Coach Rob, could you tell us where listeners can connect with your work and get involved with the battle fitted movement?
Yeah, so thank you for that. Anybody can find me at battlefittedbrand.com. That's my website that has everything, the clothing, my personal development curriculum that I sell, links to all my social media. My biggest platform right now is Instagram with just over 6,000 followers. You can always DM me on Instagram. I'm the kind of guy, I have this big goal to be the veteran Tony Robbins, and no matter how big I get, I'm always going to be part of my community. If you need help and you reach out to me, I will answer back. And I always offer free coaching consultations. It doesn't cost anything to take a call with me. You take the call with me, not a team member, not a secretary, and we can have a real talk about how I can help you heal.
That sounds amazing. Coach Rob, thank you so much for joining us on Pulverizing the Patterns today. You have such a powerful story.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Is there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave the listeners with today?
I mean, I just tell everybody, turn your pain into progress and to remember to always be fit for battle. And when I mean fit for battle, the battles of life, not the battles of war. So,
Man, that's amazing. Appreciate you for being here today.
Thank you for tuning into the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast, where Jed Brotherson takes you on a journey to confront the roots of your discontent and emerge significant. Remember to visit our website at www.pulverizingthepatterns.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast.